When a woman ignores you, most men make the same mistake. They panic, they chase harder, they send longer messages, they call more often, and they try desperately to win her attention back. But let me tell you something, the more you do that, the more you destroy your own value and inflate her ego. You need to understand this dynamic clearly. When someone ignores you, it is not a mistake, it is not an accident, it is a choice. And when a woman chooses to ignore you, she is testing your strength, your confidence, and your ability to stand firm in who you are. This is not the time to beg for attention. This is the time to reclaim your power. Most men believe that attention is the currency of attraction. They think that if they give more of it, they will receive love in return. But women don't respect a man who gives all of himself for free. She respects a man who values himself, who knows when to give and when to pull away, who understands that his energy is not to be wasted on someone who refuses to see his worth. When she ignores you, she wants to see what kind of man you really are. Will you crumble? Will you start pleading? Or will you rise above it, showing her that you don't chase validation because you already carry it within yourself? Think about this. Why does she feel comfortable ignoring you in the first place? It is because she believes you will still be there waiting, desperate, ready to accept crumbs of attention when she finally decides to throw them your way. That belief is what inflates her ego. She thinks she holds the power and you have none. But what happens when you refuse to play that game? What happens when her silence is met with your silence? What happens when her attempts to make you invisible fail because you do not crumble, you do not beg, and you do not lose your sense of self? That is when the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, the power she thought she had starts slipping through her fingers. The mistake men make is believing that indifference should be met with more effort. No, indifference should be met with strength. If she chooses not to respond, you choose not to wait. If she chooses to ignore you, you choose to invest your energy elsewhere. You are not here to be someone's backup plan. You are not here to be the man who entertains her boredom. You are not here to feed her ego when she feels insecure. You are here to live your life with purpose, with direction, with confidence. And the moment you stop trying to convince her of your worth is the moment she starts to feel the loss. Understand something powerful. Attention is one of the strongest tools you have. If you give it freely, it loses value. But if you withdraw it strategically, if you protect it, if you make her earn it, then it becomes precious. When she ignores you and you respond by giving her nothing in return, you destroy the false image in her mind that she is the prize and you are the pursuer. You flip the script. She begins to wonder, why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he desperate? Why isn't he falling into the trap every other man falls into? That's when curiosity kicks in. That's when her ego begins to crack. Because the one thing she expects from you is the one thing you refuse to give, your desperation. You see, women don't test weak men. They don't need to. Weak men fail before the test even begins. Women test men who show potential. Ignoring you is a test of your emotional strength. It is her way of seeing whether you will fold under pressure. If you pass the test, her respect for you grows. If you fail, her ego expands and your value disappears. Passing the test is not about punishing her. It is not about revenge. It is about discipline, self-control, and the unshakable belief that your worth does not depend on her recognition. Now, let me be very clear. Ignoring a woman back is not about playing childish games. It is about balance. If you are always the one calling, always the one texting, always the one chasing, you have already surrendered your value. When she ignores you, she is showing you the imbalance. Your job is not to double down and try harder. Your job is to step back, to remind yourself that your time and energy are valuable, and to give her the gift of missing you. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her wonder what happened. Let her feel the absence of your energy, because absence is louder than presence. When you stop showing up, when you stop chasing, when you stop feeding her ego, she begins to question herself. And this is where most men fail. They think ignoring her back will push her away. But here's the truth: a woman cannot walk away from a man she respects. And respect is built in the moments when you show strength, not weakness. If she sees that her silence does not shake you, that her games do not control you, that her indifference does not define your worth, she begins to see you differently. She may not admit it at first, but internally she feels the shift. Her ego suffers because the attention she expected is no longer there. And instead of you chasing her, she now wonders what she must do to regain your attention. Do you see the power in this? It is not about revenge. It is not about trying to hurt her. It is about shifting the balance of respect. You cannot force someone to value you, but you can show them that their games do not control you. That is how you destroy ego, with silence, with composure, with self-respect. You don't need long explanations. You don't need angry outbursts. You don't need dramatic gestures. All you need is the discipline to hold back what she does not deserve. But let me warn you, this requires patience. This requires strength. The urge to reach out, to explain, to demand answers will feel overwhelming. That is your weakness calling. That is your ego begging for validation. And if you give in, you prove her right. But if you stay still, if you stay silent, if you continue living your life as though nothing has been taken from you, you prove yourself strong. And in the end, it is strength that attracts respect, not desperation. So the next time she ignores you, do not react with fear. React with calm. Do not react with neediness. React with discipline. Do not react with more attention. React with silence. Your absence will speak louder than anything you could say. And if she values you, she will come back. If she doesn't, then her ignoring you was a gift, because it revealed her true intentions before you wasted more of your life on someone who did not deserve you. Either way, you win. You must remember this always. You are the prize. Your time is valuable. Your energy is precious. Your love is not cheap. And any woman who chooses to ignore you must learn that silence is not a weapon against you. It is a mirror that reflects her own insecurity. And the man who understands this will never beg for attention, will never chase what is running, and will never crumble under silence. He will stand tall, he will live fully, and he will let his strength destroy the ego of anyone who believes they can control him with games. So don't fear being ignored. Fear being the man who loses himself when it happens. Because once you master your reaction, once you stop giving away your power, once you learn to let silence work for you, you become untouchable. And the man who is untouchable is the man every woman notices, respects, and values. That is how you react when a woman ignores you. That is how you destroy her ego, not by chasing, not by begging, but by showing her the unshakable truth. You were never desperate for her attention because you were always enough without it. The echo of memories is a strange thing. It lingers long after the moment has passed, weaving itself into the fabric of our thoughts, our emotions, our identities. You see, memories are not just recollections of what once happened. They are living echoes that shape how we see the world today. Think about it. How many times have you been walking down the street, minding your own business, when suddenly a smell, a sound, or even a glimpse of a familiar place drags you back into a moment you thought you had forgotten? That is the power of memories. They never really leave us. They fade, yes, they quiet down, but they echo. They resurface when you least expect them to, whispering truths you once lived, pains you once endured, joys you once celebrated. In those echoes, there is both beauty and sorrow, because sometimes the memory brings you warmth, like the laughter of a loved one you miss, or the joy of an accomplishment that once made you proud. Other times it brings pain, a heartbreak, a betrayal, a failure. But whether the memory brings you comfort or discomfort, it remains a part of you. It is like a shadow. You may not see it all the time, but it follows you, shaping your steps, influencing your choices. The echo of memories is not silent. It speaks to you in ways louder than words. There are people who think they can run from their past, but the truth is you cannot outrun echoes. They will follow you into the quiet moments of your life. You may silence the world around you, but in that silence, the echoes become louder. A song comes on, and suddenly you are transported back years to a night you thought you had buried. A face appears in a crowd, and your heart races because it reminds you of someone you once knew, someone who shaped who you are today. These echoes remind us that time moves forward, but pieces of us remain tied to the past. And isn't it interesting how memories are selective? You don't remember every single detail of your life. Instead, the mind chooses certain pieces, certain fragments, and it is those fragments that echo through time. Sometimes it chooses the happiest moments, a smile, a gentle touch, the sound of your own laughter when life felt simple. Other times it clings to the most painful moments, the last words in an argument, the look on someone's face when they walked away, the silence of a room that used to be full of life. Why does the mind choose what it does? Perhaps because those moments carried weight. They mattered. They left an imprint deep enough to remain even after years have passed. The echo of memories can be both a blessing and a burden. It can teach you lessons, reminding you never to repeat certain mistakes, never to allow yourself to be broken in the same way twice. But it can also trap you if you let it. Some people live so deeply inside the echoes of their past that they cannot hear the call of the present. They replay the pain, they relive the betrayal. They hold on to words spoken long ago as if they were carved in stone. And in doing so, they allow their memories to control them instead of guiding them. But here's the beauty of echoes. They don't just repeat, they change. A sound echoing in a canyon doesn't return exactly as it left. It transforms, stretches, softens. In the same way, your memories, when reflected upon, can change. The pain that once crushed you can turn into strength. The joy that once made you feel alive can become gratitude. The heartbreak that once silenced you can become the fire that pushes you to build something greater. The echo doesn't have to imprison you. It can free you. If you